So we studied the ahkam, the rulings of when there is a dispute or a problem between the husband and wife. There is the Allah Azza wa Jalla warning us from using the oath without need or taking it lightly. Started first about the marriage and piety and righteousness as the base of choosing the spouse. Then after that, Allah Azza wa Jalla told us about the oath not to take it lightly. Then Allah Azza wa Jalla told us the ahkam of ila, the separation period between husband and wife, and it cannot be more than 4 months. And at that time, the husband need to make up his mind whether to continue or to separate by divorce. If continue, it has to be continuation with ma'roof, not continuation to continue the harm or to continue the problem. Okay? And then Allah Azza wa Jal told us the ahkam of talaq and iddah, which we basically covered. And all of this was about the revocable divorce. First and second divorce, and what are the rulings. And we explained, mashallah, in details that, etiquettes of that. And the hikmah and the wisdom of Allah Azza wa Jalla, that the wife, after the first or second divorce is uttered, she cannot just run away from the house without any valid reason. And the divorce is a 2-step process here. And as long as she's in the iddah, that is the right of the husband. Okay? So it is not her right to choose to get out of that relationship. Third divorce, though, it finalizes it. So once the third divorce is uttered, her iddah is not his right. And if the third divorce is pronounced, we cannot tell the wife to stay at the house. She has actually to opposite. She has to leave the house. That iddah is for her to be ready if she wants to marry again. It's not his. But the first and second divorce iddah, that's still the husband's right. Like his right to utter the divorce. The husband initiated divorce. Okay? So, and we talked also about the other types of divorce. The woman can initiate for any reason or for no reason, as long as religiously this marriage is negatively affecting her, then she can get out by doing khula. We also talked about other types, like tatliq, means if the husband refused to divorce his wife, which is justified, then the judge or the person with authority make that divorce for his refusal. And we talked about fasakh also in general, that when the contract itself was void, or in the case of li'an, when the husband accused the wife and all of that. We talked about all of that. So basically we stopped at the section of custody, right? Custody here, like Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioning it about feeding the child within the first 2 years, right? Feeding the child, breastfeeding the child or nursing the child in the first 2 years. The scholar said Allah Azza wa Jalla highlighted that by rada', the word rada', breastfeeding, to also emphasize on the importance of the source where the child is fed at this time, which is his mother, right? So Allah Azza wa Jalla is emphasizing here about the importance of a mother taking care of that child, and the source of the milk or the rada' should be from the mother. That's the first choice, and the Quran emphasizing on that. So when mothers, after giving birth, they should know that it is emphasized in the Quran, and it is also a religious aspect. It is not just a physical aspect or a social aspect, or you like it or I don't like it, or I feel like or I don't feel like. Okay? Allah Azza wa Jalla said that this is the best for the child. وَالْوَالِدَاتُ, the mothers who give birth. Right? Allah Azza wa Jalla, when He talked about the taking care of the parents, Allah said, subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَلَدَيْهِ إِحْسَانًا. Right? حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ. He used the word He used the word what? But in here Allah used the word walida. Walidat. He did not say وَالْأُمَّهَاتُ يُرْضِعْنَ أَوْلَادَهُنَّ. Right? Is a social context. But walidat is a physical context. Okay? Physical context means the one who gives birth. The word walida from mawlid, wulada. Wulada means birth, right? And walida is the one who gives birth. Walid is the one the birth is given for, right? So the father. So when you use walid and walida, it gives the indication of who brought you to this world. Okay? But when you use ab and it is more of your duty toward them and their right upon you. It is more of a social context. You understand? Yeah. And both are religious, right? But you have to understand the style of the Quran when it's using that and when it is using this. So here, it is more of right duty, physical sense, right? So Allah Azza wa Jalla says here about the breastfeeding, وَالْوَالِدَاتُ يُرْضِعْنَا. You give the birth and you take all this pain and all of that, so don't abandon that role as well of feeding your child. And it is in the context of talaq, because at that time everybody's contentious, right? Like the husband and the wife, they are mad at each other. Allah Azza wa Jalla also directly telling us the child should not be suffering from that. Okay, at that time you are the walidat, yani you are the mothers, right? يرضعن أولادهن حولين كاملين for 2 years, right? And this is just as a preference, 2 years. It can be, as we said before, less than that. Of course, if the mother has some medical reason or have some problem, some mothers, they get depression after the birth, for example, and there is no milk comes, or they don't have that, or the relationship or the bond is not established. We're not talking about that, because all of these are things that Islam also respects and understands, but these are the exception of the rules. Okay, a mother, alhamdulillah, give birth, healthy child, the child needs the milk and all of that. You're the one who's supposed to be the first priority, no discussion, because this is how Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned it. وَالْوَالِدَاتُ يُرْضِعْنَ أَوْلَادَهُنَّ حَوْلَيْنِ كَامِلَيْنِ. So it is mentioned in divorce because it will be more an issue of debate, right? But if there is no divorce or anything, everything goes normal, right? So that's why if somebody asks why the rules of rada' mentioned within divorce, because within divorce the whole relationship is affected. So Allah Azza wa Jalla talks about everything, okay, from the dispute point of view. But whenever the peace going, alhamdulillah, they agree. There will be always an agreement. So, but it's mentioned in that context because of that. 2 years without increase. Why Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned the 2 years? So the increase there, this is not religious, it's not advised, it is not something Islamic. You are going against the order of Allah Azza wa Jalla, going against the Sunnah. It doesn't matter what people medically say, or they say it's beneficial, or you see someone breastfeeding their children until they are 7 or 8 years old. Forget about these rule breakers, and this is not the rule, right? But we're talking about, as Muslims, you have to wean the child after 2 years. And the weaning process starts before that, of course. Fatam, so it is left to agreement and to the health, right? Health of the child. It varies from, but it doesn't go more than 2 years. It can go less based on agreement and based on benefit. طيب, is breastfeeding your child a fard on you? No, it is not. It is a wajib on you? No, it is not. All right? But we are talking from as something you are invited by Allah Azza wa Jal to do it, and you are doing it. No, whether it's divorce or not. Mother is not her duty to do that. It is the duty of the father to secure this. Because the marriage contract, you have to look at it from all aspects, right? It has a social aspect, it has a financial aspect, it has a psychological, emotional aspect. It has become wrong whenever we look at the marriage contract between a man and a woman from one aspect only. Then all problems happen, right? No, there is a business aspect in it as well. There is a financial aspect of it as well. Somebody is responsible to take care of someone, and that someone does other things for that person, right? That's the physical, financial aspect. But you cannot take that alone and say, oh, it is like slavery. Oh, it is like, don't talk like this, right? because you are abandoning other aspect too, which is the emotional, the love, the happiness. It is more than just two people having a contract to serve each other here, right? Or fulfill each other's need. It is more than that. And you also cannot look at it, oh, it is love and romance and all of that, because then reality is going to hit you and then you're going to be mad, right? And that's what happens in most of the cases, especially among young couples, right? It is all about rosy kind of picture, right? And you know, this and that, and then once one of them shout at the other or something, oh daddy, he did this, right? Alatul, straightforward, you know? And then, you know, he goes to his mom and he said, you know, she's very fragile, you know, whatever I say, she starts crying and all of that. Why? Because, you know, they they are only seeing, which is natural, right? And that's where the hikmah and the wisdom of the old elders come. Now, if the elders also, I'm sorry to say, stupid and foolish, they're going to destroy that marriage even more, right? Because they put their thing in there. You know, I want to control and I want to do this, I want to do that. Then it becomes a mess. Okay, I'm just telling you from more than 20 years of experience listening to this kind of thing. All right? Always the problem will happen that you see someone is abandoning one of the corners of the marriage. They are always talking emotional side only, or they're talking individual, psychological, how I feel and what this marriage is making me do, the stress and all of that, or they are talking from the physical sense, or they are talking from the financial one. Always, any problem comes, you will find that one or more is missing. Okay? That's why Allah Azza wa Jalla talk this, and then He said, وَلَا تَنْسَوُا الْفَضْلَ بَيْنَكُمْ. And don't forget the good kind of living that you had together, right? So always, you have to think all together. Alright? All of it together. So now, the mother doesn't have to do that. Okay? Of course, she doesn't have to do, but who is a mother in very good heart that leaves her child without, you know, they said, you know what, I'm not going to feed him. And the father said, all right. Then what's going to happen, Yani? What kind of father, what kind of mother? You understand the context I'm trying to add here? Yeah, when we say, oh, it's not her duty and the father has to pay her, don't look at it as a job here. No. Don't forget the initial loving feeling. A father cares about his child, so he will not the child die. If the mother refuses, he will find secure someone. And also the mother saying this because maybe she's mad or she's not happy with the father, she want to get at him. But at the end of the day, she's not going to let, right? That's where this financial agreement fits in. Right? That both of them will not forget that kind of feeling toward their child, but the agreement will happen. Okay? So don't look at it separate from that. That's why Allah Azza wa Jalla said, وَالْوَالِدَاتُ يُرْضِعْنَ أَوْلَادَهُنَّ حَوْلَيْنِ كَامِلَيْنِ 2 years for whoever wants to continue. طبعا the woman refusing to do this because of her beauty or because of her body or because of her feelings or because of that, that's her right, but it will affect the child. Right? It will affect the child and it is not beneficial for your child. And it stays forever, you know. Child later won't know that what you did, right? Yeah, so it is not a good thing, you know, later, yani, to, yeah. Even if they don't talk about it, it's something in the heart, yani, so it's very, very important. The scholars, yani, I'm not leaving this and just jump to the next rule, but there are, as I promised in the beginning, we're not going to go in the depth of fiqh issues, but there are some of the scholars who made it a wajib on the lady, especially if the child easily accepts the mother. You know, like in the beginning, they see this child, you know, accepting or not accepting, or in the hospital they always help the mother, the nurse, especially if it's the first time, right? So once the child accepts the mother, we're not going to go look for someone else. Then the scholar said, you know, it has to be that mom, right? That mother. Now, if giving the choice, and the mother says no, and giving the choice, and the father tries with other ladies to do it, but no one succeeds except the mother, Imam Malik, for example, said, then it is must on the mother. You see how? So the issue is not left open like that, but there are discussions on that. To get out of it, I always advise, whenever there is a problem between the husband and wife, I tell both of them, whenever they come here or they talk to me on the phone or something like that, I said, whenever you both have a problem and divorce will happen, imminent, or it already happened, don't let a third party suffer. Okay? Don't let a third party be affected of your decision. And what I mean, what I say, I mean two. I mean the families and the children. Okay? Don't let your decision affect your families. And there are many details in this. The respect, the dealings, if there is business, if there is something. Don't let this suffer because of that separation. Alright? And don't let the children be affected by this. Children still have a father and a mother. The difference is the father and mother was with them together. Now they are separated, but they should stay with them also. So father and mother with their children together or separated, but they are still with their children. Okay? So don't let the children become the game or the field. And the mothers, they're fighting for the children, not because they love the children, but because they want to give hard time to the husband and they want the money that the court will give them more, right? And the husband wants to take the children from the woman to burn her heart, because the woman is more attached to children than man. So he wanted to burn her heart and wanted to make her regret leaving him, even though sometimes he's wrong. And that's the case, always happening around us. Okay? So don't let your decision of separation, doesn't matter how you dislike each other, how you hate each other, how much you don't want to see each other, but the children don't have to suffer from that. Okay? You could not get along being together, at least get along for your children on that level.